You know that whole political scandal in the 70s where Nixon was spying on his political opponents and everyone got in a whole little tussle about that? And, he got impeached and jostled himself out of office? Yeah, well, we're seeing the 2022 recreation of that particular political scandal, only substantially worse. Because if that was Watergate, well, this'll have to be OceanGate, because the Clintons were not only spying on the campaign of their political opponents, in this case being Donald Trump, they were also spying on the Donald Trump White House, actually spying on the White House itself, on top of which, as much bad as you can say about Nixon, at the very least, he was only looking into the DNC just to find out if there was any scandalous things that he could take advantage of already there. When it comes to the Clintons, on the other hand, they were actively trying to create a political scandal, and a particular one that they set out initially with the intention of creating. That, of course, being the one that you've heard so much about, the Russian collusion scandal. You see, all of this, in case you were unaware of the past, well, about 4 years at this point, was a complete fabrication by the Clinton campaign, and one that has been fairly obvious to most people who were paying attention to anything other than mainstream news for a very long time. But now, since the Durham report has made the obvious even that much more clearer, there's very little left to deny. Now we're left, the Clinton supporters and the I'm with hers still to this day are left with basically no defense for the Clinton campaign at this point. Of course, this doesn't mean that anything's actually going to happen as a result of this particular revelation. After all, there's way too many middlemen for them to lose their heads before we'll ever get anywhere near the Clinton administration. And of course, if we ever do get that close, Vince Foster, it's not as though this is going to be a massive get her in jail sort of thing. Of course, she probably should be, and so should her husband, but it's probably not going to happen. They're too politically well-connected and all that sort of stuff. At least it won't happen until long after the populists have taken over the entirety of the government, assuming that ever happens, which of course I have hope for because I'm a white-pilled optimist. And so, for now, all we're going to have to live with is the political gloating points. And oh, am I going to use those? Because this is a scandal that, might I remind you, the media laughed at Trump as a conspiracy theorist for even suggesting that there was any spying going on around him, particularly extra-legal spying going on from the DNC, Democrats more generally, or particularly Obama and Clinton. Only for it to later be revealed that was exactly what was happening, and the whole investigation was in fact drummed up as not even opposition research, but just straight-up lies from the Clinton campaign that was intentionally created, might I remind you. That's the truth of the Russian collusion scandal. Of course, you'll still get continual cries that Donald Trump was a stooge for Vladimir Putin, all the while Joe Biden does more pro-Russian things, of course, beyond threatening to go to war with them, over the past 2 years than Donald Trump ever did, most importantly being the Russian pipeline, which he allowed to go forward after removing the sanctions that Donald Trump put on it, which seems quite contrary to the media narrative, because the media narrative is simply lies. And really, that's the long and short of it. All of this is just a story of the media lying to people, and some will say, well, they're going to get away with it. Clinton is going to get away with doing all of the spying and illegal activity that she's been doing, and for which Nixon got, I would say at least partially rightfully, impeached over. But that is sort of underselling the revelation here, because the more information that comes out with regard to the sorts of things the media lies about, whether it be about COVID or whether it be about the Russian collusion scandal, the less they are going to be convincing when they actually do lie. The more that the sycophants and people who have been stuck in the media narrative for a substantial portion of their lives are going to start seeing through the cracks. And this is just one more crack in that narrative for them to look through. And that itself is worth it, in my opinion. And that is where I'm going to leave you guys off. If you enjoyed that video, do subscribe down below and check me out on other platforms. I'm on BitChute, I'm on Brighteon, I'm on Odyssey, I'm on Rumble, I'm on all of those places, and I suggest you go check out those links down in the description, along with my Minds, my Gab, and my Getter page. All of those links, once again, are down in the description. I suggest you go check them out. I'm KelKidman. This has been Breaking on the Daily. Don't be square.